Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest and exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now, we do a lot of cool stuff here on the show, and we want to take you back to one of those moments here in the archives. Fans of Motorhead Garage have surely seen Steele rubber on the show before, and Danny, we know you guys are all about weather stripping and seals all over the car, but here are some things you brought with you that we may not have even thought of before. What'd you bring?
So yeah, I brought some things that, you know, as you're going through your project, you may not have thought about. So I've got parts that are underneath the car. Or between the chassis and the suspension. So right here we have a splash apron. You know, this is the type of rubber that you see in the wheel wells or between the radiator and the front bumper to keep all the water and dirt and debris out of the compartments.
I'm used to seeing these hanging from a car. They're split, they're cracked, they're dragging along, and they're really brittle. Every time somebody comes up on a parking curb, that's when they damage it, and you guys have a solution.
Absolutely, and this is a piece that's cut for a specific vehicle. It has the attachment pieces. We got the clips that go with that piece for this car, but you know, some are attached with staples. It'll come with that kind of hardware, and it's already cut and got the holes placed to go up right where it was originally.
Super pliable, and how resistant to chemicals and everything else you'll find on the road.
Yeah, this is a type of rubber that has a cloth insert, so it's like a very tough tensile strength type of rubber. And we've got other pieces underneath the car like suspension, bushings, body mounting pads, gear shift boots, bumper bullets. You know, there's a lot of rubber pieces on a car that aren't just seals, but they're necessary for that really nice ride that you want.
Now, how do I know that a part like this is going to be similar to what I had in my stock vehicle?
Our customers have loved our year, make, model specific catalog. It shows all the parts that we have for your car, all these little pieces. If we have it for your car, it'll be in that catalog. They're free. We send them out to our customers every single day. It'll allow you to go through your car, check off everything that you need for your project, and make sure you don't miss any of those small pieces.
Speaking of small pieces you might miss, what do we have right here?
So that's like a drain for a cow. A lot of times those are really gone whenever you're working on an old car and you're going to get water in places you don't want water. So those are very important. You know, we have pedal pads, we have types that are slip-on.
What about Cadillacs or, you know, certain brands that actually have their name stamped on the pedal?
Yeah, we do have several licensed pieces for Cadillacs, LaSalles, Chevys, Cobras, you know, that have that iconic emblem on the pedal. We also do revolt services where we take an original pedal, take all the rubber off, put new rubber on. We do motor mounts, stabilizer linkages. We do custom windshield gaskets for chop tops. There's a lot of things that we do that people don't know about, and we do have the resources for you to learn about them in our catalogs.
What if I can't find the part I need in the catalog? You don't make something for my specific vehicle?
So if we don't make something specific for your vehicle, we do have a large universal line, and we've got a street rod section. So basically our universal has a lot of different types of profiles of weather stripping that you can use for your doors and your trunks, but also all of our generically shaped parts, if you're trying to make something work, are in that section. So if you're looking for a fuel neck grommet and it just needs to be a circle, we have that available on our website. It's got all the dimensions, so you can scroll through our catalog and see what we have for you.
And I see some big pieces here. This is stemming from your universal line?
Yeah, so once we had our universal parts, we had customers say, hey, can you make this? I'm working on an RV, do you have this? So we actually have developed an entire RV product line. While the universal stuff is great for the doors and the compartments, you know, RVs have these big giant slide outs and they take a specific seal, and now we have those. A lot of our customers have several toys. We make parts for them as well. And we even do boats now.
You spend a few bucks on some seals and it can save your entire vehicle.
Absolutely. And it really goes a long way for, you know, whenever you're camping, you got air drafts coming in or bugs or whatever, rain. None of that is the excitement of camping, so these seals work great.
Now what happens if I have a part? How does the process work if I need something that you don't have?
We have an excellent customer service staff. You can call in and they will walk you through the entire process. We also have all of our parts available online with dimensions, so you can scroll through and look for yourself. We also have sample packs, so if you know you're working on a particular item, we can send you a sample pack, like we have one for the window channel, or one for kind of generic D-shaped seals, and this is for your slide outs. So If you're working on something specific, we can send you a pack and you can test fit and get exactly what you need.
We've visited your place, and if a customer sends in a part, that's something you guys keep in the library.
We generally keep those originals. All the parts you see here are originals, and what that allows us to do is if we ever have any kind of issue with the part, we can go back to that original, see if there's an adjustment we need to make, and since we do our own machining and tooling, we're able to make that adjustment because we want to make the part right and work for the customer. So we have a huge library of original parts that we can use to verify that our parts are made right.
Once you've made the part, how much R&D goes into testing that actual part?
We test fit it on the car it came off of. We do a lot of research up front to see if it's a good part to make. And if it is, then we go through our marketing process to get it out to the customers.
If you've got a vehicle you love, and I bet you do, Steele Rubber has parts that you are going to need, so you can check them out at steelrubber.com. We're just getting started here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coating, so do not go away.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. Power Sports of America, we sell excitement. And by Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, we're all about cool cars, and we think you're going to love this one.
It's a 1966 U13 Bronco. The U13 was built to compete with the Jeep Wrangler, and it has a fold-down windshield on it. Got a 170 cubic inch six-cylinder engine in it, 3-speed transmission. This one has a live PTO Koenig winch set up in it. You actually start the vehicle, put the transfer case in neutral, and it's got a second shift on the side. You put it in gear and you run the winch with the gear shift. This particular U13, the 66, had silver mist interior in it. The dash was collar keyed to the same color only that year. They've got one-off hubcaps on them. I've seen guys pay as much as $1,000 for a hubcap. No parking lights. It's got a teardrop tailgate on it. It's different than the 67 and up. They changed the taillights out on it. It's got square end cut bumpers on it. All kind of options. They were made this way with plastic fiberglass inserts. No doors, no top. Just the way you see this one's the way it came off the showroom floor. In the 3 years that they made the U13, they only made 4,090. Lately, we found out that there's probably only a couple hundred of those left, and out of that, there's probably 65 to 70 of them in running condition. Built to this quality, there's probably less than 15 or 20 of them. There's evidence of a few around have sold for over 100,000 now. Like, I bought it 2 years ago in a salvage yard, took it home and took it completely apart. Every nut and bolt and everything's been completely out of it, and spent about a year and a half on it. Got me addicted and into the bronchitis, I guess. I just play with them all the time. I've probably had 300 of them.
Time now for the lowdown with Magic Creeper.
All right, well, you may have an enormous toolbox in your garage or workshop, or a whole line of cabinets, maybe even 2 big toolboxes. But I tell you what, you do not have the ultimate tool until you have the Magic Creeper. The Magic Creeper is the most versatile thing you will have. It's going to also help you use all of your tools to their fullest extent. Why? Because the Magic Creeper can get under anything. Super low ground clearance if you need to get under the vehicle. You can do it in the driveway. You can do it on your shop floor. Average creepers are going to be about 4 inches above the ground. And believe me, there are a lot of cars that are only 8 inches off the ground, and it's really tough to get underneath. If you have the Magic Creeper, it has 0 ground clearance, which means you are able to have all kinds of extra space when you go under the vehicle. Now, once you get under there, you can move 4 or 5 feet, which allows you to travel over halfway across some of the widest vehicles on the road. The Magic Creeper is a continuous loop that rolls upon itself, and there's a special material with a low coefficient of friction on the inside. On the outside, it's a polyurethane coated material that's water, oil, and puncture resistant. It is super easy to clean. All you have to do is wipe it off with any simple degreaser and a rag, and you are all set to go. The Magic Creeper also stores really easily. You can roll it right up, keep it under your car seat, keep it in your trunk. It is always ready when you need it. And you need to pick it up before you need it. It's the Magic Creeper. You can find it at magiccreeper.com. That's the only place you can find the original Magic Creeper. Don't accept any substitutes. Do not go anywhere, because Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, returns right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
We are rolling here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Let's take a look back at the archives when he had a chance to hit the road. Motorhead Garage had a chance to roll up to Kentucky. That's where we checked out the annual NSRA Nationals. Every year, classic car lovers flock to Louisville to worship the automobile, and they get to share their passion with tens of thousands of their closest friends. It's a collection of some of the most incredible builds you've ever seen. And here is one of our favorites. It's a 1953 Henry J, really one of America's first attempts at an affordable compact car. Cecil Taylor restored it for his wife to use as a daily driver. It's incredible, and it's not the only great-looking build he's brought to the show. The NHOU top truck is catching a lot of attention here at the NSRA Nationals, and once again, Cecil Taylor is responsible for this magnificent work of art. Tell me about this 29 Ford.
Well, it belongs to Greg and Gail Wilson right here in Louisville, and this is the third car I've built for him. I built him 2 Woodies. He told me I want a truck that's worthy of going to the Riddler and at least winning the Grade 8. And we just got it completely built. I'm not a painter, so Greg Wilson wanted to have his own painter up here, take the car apart, paint it, and put it back together, and his name was Brad Starks, Rod and Custom. Did a great job of taking it to the next level. It's called Root Beer Brown. The actual original 29 trucks, all of them, were pretty confining. They had a very small cab. I don't know how 6'4" farmers got in. They had to wind themselves up, I think. But we extended the cab 4 inches, so we had a little more cabin room, because Greg's a big guy. And then because he wanted to run a surfboard in the bed, we had to make the bed 5 inches longer to kind of make it proportionate. So instead of a 103-inch wheelbase of a Model A, it's actually a 112-inch wheelbase like a 1934 Ford.
Did you do all this woodwork yourself?
Well, between my son and myself, Greg, he did most of the woodwork. That's what he does. We built 129 Woodies at our shop. But I mostly do the metal work. He does the woodwork, but we can both do either. It doesn't matter. It's like anything else, you know, playing the piano, the more you practice, the better you get. But he's done enough of them. He's pretty sharp.
What kind of wood is that?
It's hard maple on the main part of it, and then the bed is kind of looks like mahogany, but it's called Sapolo wood. And then he had somebody in Louisville do all the clearing of the wood. They did a great job on that. And the name of the truck is called Driftwood, and that came from when they got married. They went to the Driftwood Motel, and since it's a Woody, he wanted to call it Driftwood.
What's under the hood?
Well, it has a Ford V8 flathead, then he has a automatic transmission, and then it has a quick change rear end. It's got all stainless steel exhaust. Everything on it is either stainless or aluminum, you know, kind of maintenance free. We actually went to the Riddler 3 months ago in Detroit, and we didn't win the Riddler, but we did get into the Grade 8 with it, which is exactly what he had planned. So we were successful in getting his dream come true.
How gratifying is it for you to start a project and finish it exactly the way the customer wanted it?
Well, that's my goal. I tell every one of them, it ain't all about the money. When I get done and you walk down this driveway for the last time or drive your car out, I want it to be exactly the car you came here to get. I don't want it to be my car, I want it to be your car.
You know, it's just good business sense. The car manufacturers have figured out a way to use the same power plant across different cars in their line. And with some of the parts, Tom, that makes things a little more complicated how they manufacture them.
Right, yeah, this is a thermostat housing from the Chrysler 3.6 liter that they use in Jeeps, minivans, Ram trucks, front-wheel drive cars. So it varies how the engine is mounted in the vehicle, and to make it easier to bleed off the excess air when you change the coolant, they add a little bleeder valve. So if the thermostat housing has to be down low or up high, it doesn't matter. You can always bleed off the air and make sure your coolant system doesn't have air in it, and the water pump and everything will work efficiently.
And this is always one unit?
No, that's something new in newer vehicles. Is you'll have one unit, the thermostat and the housing are replaced together.
Gotcha. Now, a lot of parts you see rebates on. How does Rock Auto handle a manufacturer's rebate?
We have a promotions and rebates page. You click there and you see all the parts that there's currently rebates for. And we also have, as you shop through the catalog, you'll see little stars that tell you a rebate's available, and you can click on that. And rebates now are available for a lot more parts than they were 20, 30 years ago. It's not just spark plugs and air filters. It'll be parts like this, fuel injectors, axles, and you can save even more off our reliably low prices.
And now I don't have to go to the auto parts store, and invariably there's that little pad of paper with the rebates you tear off. It's greasy, now it's virus covered. Who knows what you're getting into, and Rock Auto makes it super simple.
Right, yeah, you don't have to ask, is a rebate available? You can see, hey, the little star, look on the promotions and rebates page.
So rebates can make reliably low prices even lower at rockauto.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by BrothersTrucks.com, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Clamp Tight, the clamp making tool. And by AP Laser, leading the way.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. We're going to go back into the archives and take a look at one of our greatest hits. All right, I've got one for you. A nuclear scientist, a college instructor, and a defense contractor walk into a television studio. All right, it's not a joke, it actually just happened. This is Pasha Rudenko, and he is with Tribotex. It's something you're going to love. Tell us what it is.
So Tribotex, it's a result of my PhD work at Washington State University that based on nanotechnology, and we call it dumbest possible artificial intelligence. Let me break it down for you. If you would say in the future had a nanobot, and you would tell that nanobot to go swim in the engine and fix, let's say, play in the bearing, what the nanobot would do? It would grab a small amount of material, swim into the engine, attach it to a surface, swim back and repeat. We did exactly just that, but with as little of intelligence as possible. So we made flat nanoparticles that have chemically and functionally different sides. One side is sticky and another is slippery. So when the nanoparticles attach to the surface, they'd only attach by sticky side and expose slippery side. So sticky side reinforce the surface and strengthen it, and slippery side protect it from the future damage. And interestingly enough, when many of those particles attach particle by particle, they go into attach in random pattern, forming porous structure. And that porous structure is thick enough to compensate for the wear that was accumulated for decades of the functioning of the mechanism. So we used that technology and simplified it for the everyday consumer to be used in engines, gearboxes, power steering pumps, rear differentials, front differentials, all kinds of the mechanisms that are lubricated by the regular lubricants that over time wear out, that need some attention.
Now, when you set out to do this, you weren't setting out to research engines and that sort of thing. How did you discover this technology?
We went into a completely different thing. We started from the hip implants, and then we learned that industrial applications would be really good, wind turbines, space applications. Essentially, NASA just recently put a wonderful article about us in the Spin-Off magazine. And we thought for the long time that this technology is going to be just too expensive for the regular consumer to really use it. You know, nanomaterial is expensive to make. You need substantial quantity to really show the difference. So we went and asked several government agencies, would you be interested in us bringing this technology to the market? And National Science Foundation funded us to build the production capacity. And after that, you know, we had a lot of material, but we didn't have customers. So we decided, how are we gonna bring it to the market? We put it on Kickstarter, then on Indiegogo, blow out our initial goals, and then Amazon, eBay. Now we bring it to retailers. So we just happy with the results.
All right, so the Air Force uses Tribotex and big industry uses this. What can Tribotex do for me on my little car at home?
Every car over time wears out, and spherical bearings become elliptical with time. So you get little play and you hear it as an extra noise. So when this noise happens, the more particles can get delivered into that little gap, and they build a layer particle by particle, so your bearings effectively shrink. So you rebuild engine without disassembly, just with the syringe of Tribotex. That's one part of it. But that coating is not just thick and protective. It is also more lubricious than the material was before. So the bearing become more efficient. That reduces heat and reduces a little bit fuel consumption. Overall, those benefits are very useful for everyone who can keep their car longer and retain efficiency over long term.
How quickly am I going to notice the results once I put Tribotex
That's a
in?
very good question. The first difference in noise you will hear about 15 minutes in, and we want you to wait for those 15 minutes so the material gets dispersed over time pretty well. But the real benefits happens when the cylinders and rings get coated, and this is just slow splash lubrication within the motor, so it takes longer. It takes about 10 motor hours, and we call it about 500 miles. So when those got coated, then you start realizing benefits of better fuel consumption and lower heat rejection into coolant. So the temperature of engine goes down again by a little bit.
Well, if you want to see more, you can check them out on their website at tribotex.com. Well, that is all we have time for this week on Motorhead Garage, but we'll be back next week, and we hope you join us. In the meantime, check out our Facebook page and see what we're up to. From our entire crew here, we will see you next week on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. So long.